Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing that will be valid for this week through Friday, February 7th. For the week ahead, we're really looking at one main hazard. That's a gale warning out for a small portion of the Caribbean offshore Colombia, and then a second area to monitor out over the tropical Atlantic with some fresh to strong trade winds. Here's a look at today's conditions as of 7 a.m. You'll note that really the main feature that we have on the map is a cold front that stretches from southeast of Bermuda to maybe just north of the Bahamas and then kind of stalls out over Florida. It's a pretty weak front and it's not really doing too much either. So the bottom line with this front and all features across kind of the northern part of our waters is that they're going to be weak through the week and not really causing a lot of marine impactful weather, so conditions should be pretty good over the northern areas. To the south, we have this developing gale offshore Colombia. This will be the trend each day with strong winds during the day increasing to gale conditions overnight offshore Colombia. And then finally, you'll notice with the wave heights here on the right-hand side of the screen, a large area of greens and yellows, which represent seas of 8 to up to 12 feet. That's associated with some easterly trade winds, fresh to strong 20 to 25 knots over the eastern Atlantic waters and central Atlantic waters to the east of the Lesser Antilles. As we go into tomorrow, you'll see the front up across the north has devolved into a trough, secondary trough now offshore Florida. Really not a lot with either of those troughs, and so the main areas of concern remain the gale conditions, which again will be developing Monday night offshore Colombia, and then the fresh to occasionally strong trade winds with the associated rough seas over the tropical Atlantic. We move forward into Tuesday, really not a lot of change. The two troughs that I mentioned remain across our northern waters. There's a couple of high pressure centers now that pop up on the map. Overall, very quiet conditions across our northern waters. The developing gale will remain over the southern Caribbean waters offshore Colombia, and conditions improve slightly in terms of the winds over the trade wind belt to the east of the Lesser Antilles, mainly fresh, with seas still 8 to 10, nearly 12 feet across a wide chunk of the tropical Atlantic. Now a little farther out on time into Wednesday, northern waters remain quiet. Still looks like very similar conditions with strong winds during the day increasing to gale conditions overnight offshore Colombia. All this is being caused by the pressure gradient between the overall high pressure across the northern waters and then the low pressure that you can see centered over northern South America and just general low pressure associated with the deep tropics across northern South America. By Thursday, we're no longer showing the features on the map, but there really weren't any significant features even when we were displaying them. So the bottom line is still pretty quiet conditions across the northern waters with these fresh to at times strong easterly winds across the southern waters with the small area of strong to pulsing up to gale conditions offshore Colombia. Then my final map for Friday kind of sounds like a broken record, continued quiet conditions across the north, the fresh to strong trades across the south with our one area to highlight of particularly strong trades increasing up to gale conditions each night. So to summarize, we do have a gale warning in effect offshore Colombia within about 90 nautical miles of shore. That is in effect tonight, also Monday night and Tuesday night, and it most likely will continue nightly through the week. That is for easterly winds of 30 to 35 knots, with seas reaching as high as 14 feet in those area of gale force winds. And then a secondary area of concern is for the tropical waters, tropical Atlantic waters south of about 20 north and to the east of the Lesser Antilles, where fresh to strong trade winds are going to be generating rough seas of about 8 to 11 feet, with those winds being 20 to 25 knots at times. Really, through the week, the worst of the conditions here over the next few days, then improving slightly for the latter half of the week. That reaches the end of this week's briefing. Our next briefing is going to be Thursday, February 6th. We will have that out for you available by 5 p.m.